Right, you lot. Welcome to Scotty, weekly Q&A where your questions get dragged through mud and slapped with reality like a dev trying to fix netcode with chewing gum and hope. This ain't your nan's podcast. No fluff, no filters, and definitely no PR scripted bollocks. Just me, your resident Yorkshire misery machine, taking your questions and tearing through them like SBMM tears through casuals. If you're expecting polite answers, wrong channel. But if you want savage truth, FPS chaos, and occasional influencer tech dad, grab a brew and buckle up. Let's roast some nonsense, shall we? This first question comes from Southern Star DroneNet, and he asks, are you gonna do an upload on the last few days of XDefiant? Very close to 3rd of June. Oh aye mate, I bloody well am. I won't miss that digital funeral for all mouse clicks in China. Look, I might not have a calendar filled with beach holidays and wine tastings with influencer toss pots, but I've already penciled in that week with a big fat marker. And words, Ubisoft shoots itself in face again. That's a week of content that practically writes itself. Because when a publisher finally does something half decent, only to bin it because it didn't deliver Fortnite level profits in 6 minutes, you better believe I'm lighting rant torch and marching straight into their ivory tower of idiocy. Yeah, it's a shame. XDefiant could have been pissed off stepchild of COD we all needed. Stripped her SBMM, free of kill chasing bollocks, and lauded with kind of raw gameplay stat obsessed sweats couldn't handle. That's exactly why it died. Because God forbid we get another shooter that don't handhold every potato with a controller and an ego. And let's not forget real comedy gold. Absolute meltdowns from COD fanboys when they realised they weren't protected by the matchmaking comfort blankets anymore. I can't win every gunfight. Yeah mate, welcome to actual PvP. No skill crutch, no rigged engagement rollercoaster, just bullets, maps and hard lessons. So yeah, there'll be uploads, plural, and at least one of them's gonna tear into cowardly SBMM apologists who couldn't hack it. Might even read some of the Reddit copium, just for spice. Hell, I'm already working on one video. Gonna be a full week of fire, my friend. Morning game, mocking system, maybe even gear XDefiant biking send off it deserves. If we can still fight bloody servers. What about you lot? Were you one at few who saw potential in XDefiant, or one at many who couldn't cope with our algorithmic babysitting? Drop your thoughts below, cause I want to know who's still got a spine in this genre. Right. Our mate DroneNet sent another question, and he asked, why is gaming industry so bad at the moment? I can't find any game to inspire me. Mate, where do I even start? It's bad because it's been rotting from inside out for years, and that stinks finally at everyone's nose. We're not in golden age of gaming, we're in era of copy-paste cash grabs, built by interns on tight deadlines and published by CEOs who think innovation means adding a battle pass to a single-player game. Can't find a game to inspire you? Of course you can, because industry don't want to inspire you anymore. It wants to trap you, milk you, and then gaslight you into thanking it. Most games aren't built with soul, they're stitched together by corporate AI, stuffed with FOMO, and shipped half finished with promise of live service that's just code for we'll patch it later if it sells. And suits? They don't give a toss if it's fun. They're chasing metrics like daily engagement and whale conversion rates. They don't ask, is this game memorable? They ask, how many microtransactions did Darren in Derbyshire buy afore rage quitting match 3? We've got publishers like Ubisoft finally greenlighting something decent like XDefiant, only to bin it cause it didn't hit quarterly projection. We've got EA still punting out FIFA clones with new app and same corpse. And Activision? Don't get me started. They turned COD into a dopamine slot machine powered by skill-based misery management. You're not broken, mate. You're just not brain dead. You're part of the generation of gamers who remember when games were made by lunatics with a vision, not suits with spreadsheets. When developers fought for gameplay, not loot tiers. When a 40 quid game came complete and didn't demand another 200 quid to unlock damn ending. Yeah, no wonder you can't find inspiration. Industry sold its soul. And now we're all stuck in a pixelated purgatory where creative risk means letting you crouch while reloading. But here's the thing, moment indie devs stop trying to beat next Fortnite and start making games they actually believe in, that spark will come back. Next wave of inspiration won't come from billion-dollar publishers, It'll come from pissed off, underpaid devs in the bedrooms who've had enough at bollocks. Until then, we survive, we rant, we resist, and we build hype that day someone actually releases a game that don't feel like it was designed by a marketing AI on ketamine. What about the rest of you lot? What's the last game that actually inspired you? Or are you all just as jaded as DroneNet and me? Drop it in comments. Let's get a list going. Maybe we'll find hope buried under microtransaction rubble. This next question comes from Firkinell, and he asks, "Hey Scotty, have you ever thought that if you could have a Guinness World Record, what would you have and why?" I gotta be honest, mate, no. I've never given it a single brain cell. I don't wake up in the morning thinking, you know what this broken corporate sodomized world needs? A certificate proving I click buttons faster than a Genshin whale on payday. Let's be real, most of these Guinness World Records today are absolute bollocks. Most hours spent on Fortnite dressed as Ariana Grande. Fastest time to get banned from Call of Duty voice chat for telling a dead truth. Hell, I'd rather have record for most games uninstalled mid-cutscene after another soulless AAA intro where some gravel voice NPC says, "We're not so different, you and I." And even if I did want a record, what would I aim for? Most studio apologies ignored in 1 year? Fastest eye roll at a Ubisoft roadmap? Longest consecutive rant about SBMM without passing out from rage-induced blood pressure? Honestly, I'm already official record holder for least amount of fucks given about corporate PR statements in a single lifetime. But hey, now that you've cursed my brain with thought, let's make this a community challenge. If you lot could have a Guinness World Record, what would it be? Drop it in comment. Make it ridiculous. Make it savage. Bonus points if it involves uninstalling Battlefield 2042 in under 3 minutes or surviving 10 years of EA bullshit without therapy. Thanks for that question, Firkinell. Next question comes from Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195, and he asks, "Hey Scotty, how's life in Yorkshire?" It's good, mate. Thanks for asking. I live it day by day, Yorkshire way. Step 1 to staying sane up here is simple. Don't give a flying fuck about future. Weather's a lottery, broadband's powered by drunk hamsters, and if you ask a local for directions, there's a 50-50 chance they'll guide you or mug you. It's thrilling, really. Yorkshire folk, salt at bloody earth. No nonsense. Say it straight. Oak door open for you, then call you a pillock if you don't say thank you. It's a region powered by tea, sarcasm and passive-aggressive kindness. And that's just women. I'll say this though, being a grumpy sod in Yorkshire is practically a cultural badge of honour. You don't get weird looks for being blunt up here, you get offered a biscuit and a brew. It's last bastion where you can moan about everything and still be loved for it. Not that it's perfect, roads are still bloody obstacle course, trains turn up once a decade, and if another property developer tries to rename a Barnsley estate something like Yorkshire Heights, I swear I'll go full arsonist on myself. So yeah, Pyro, it's alright. It's real. It's rough but honest. Bit like this channel. How's life in your neck of wood, you fire-happy legend? Everyone signed off below. Where are you from? And how shit is your local game store? Let's make this a global roast session. This question comes from Ages444 and he asks, "Here's a fun one. Who's worst publisher in gaming history in your opinion? Everything from classic Activision to EA's stupid blunders. No one is off table here. Even Atari if you want to go way back with ET. Oh, fun one, he says. That's like calling Chernobyl a slight mishap. Right, strap in. Ages, mate, this into question. It's a fucking war crime tribunal. Picking one worst publisher in gaming history is like trying to choose your least favourite flavour of food poisoning. EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Nintendo. Each of them has, at some point, held industry down and whisper screamed, "It's just business," while absolutely rinsing gamers like it's a goddamn hostage negotiation. Let's break it down like a condemned loot box. Activision? Well, they're poster child of predatory monetisation wrapped in nostalgia bait. Ever since 2016, Call of Duty's been less of a shooter and more of a spreadsheet simulator, built by soulless suits and published by Stockholm Syndrome. Their SBMM system alone deserves a gearing. EA? Legends in field, if it prints money, kill it and turn it into FIFA points. The murdered Visceral, mutilated BioWare, and made surprise mechanics a legally recognised phrase. That's not blunder territory, that's psychological warfare. Ubisoft? Walking contradiction. They shout innovation while releasing the same open world sludge every bloody year. Only now with NFTs, AI voices, and live service roadmap more lifeless than Skull and Bones player base. Honestly, I'm convinced their dev team is just 12 interns locked in a time loop. Nintendo? I respect classics, but let's not pretend they're sane. They treat the fanbase like bootleggers, sell you 20-year-old games for 50 quid, and sue people for breathing near a ROM. Disney are gaming, but with fewer lightsabers and more cease and desist letters. And you know what? Let's not forget Atari, OG disaster artists. They literally buried the failure in desert. Only reason they don't win crown is cause they imploded before they could invent battle passes. So it's worst. Honestly, all of them. Every AAA publisher is a different flavour of bollocks. Marinated in greed and served cold with a side of, we hear ya. This ain't an industry anymore, it's a bloody cartel. But hey, let's settle this democratically. So you lot, sound off below. Which publisher deserves to be launched into some first? And why is it usually a tie? Cheers for that question, Aegis. This question comes from Scott Caesar 5089, and he asks, do you think current state of video game development by corporate giants, i.e. Activision, Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, etc., utilising methods of engagement optimization and other psychological factors has perpetuated mental health crises facing many young adults and teens today? If so, what sort of regulation would you approve of to bring video games back to a reasonable state that promotes healthy playing habits within player base? Bloody hell, Scott, coming in heavy with philosophy grenade. I like it. Right then, let's light fuse. Short answer, yeah, absolutely. And anyone saying otherwise either works in marketing or still thinks battle passes are optional. Let's not dress this up in PR fluff and corporate spin. Modern AAA gaming industry ain't just complicit in mental health crisis facing young lads and teens. It's fucking engineered around it, built to exploit it, fed by it. They repackaged and sold it back to us as content. Let's talk engagement optimization, or as I like to call it, algorithmic addiction dressed in camo paint. This ain't game design, behavioural manipulation, tailored by psychology, fine-tuned by analytics, and wrapped in just enough neon to look fun. Activision, EA, Ubisoft, they're not making games, they're making digital crack den, and we're feeding kids into them like it's rite of passage. And they're smart about it, real smart. They use SBMM and EOMM to dangle victories and crush your confidence just enough to keep you playing. Limited time events to trigger FOMO and hijack your calendar. Cosmetic economies to inflate status anxiety, especially among young and insecure. And voice chat? Fucking cesspit. Modern locker room, if lockers were made of razor blades and daddy issues. Result? Generation of lads who think self-worth is tied to the KD ratio. Social currency is measured in skins and subs. And fun is something you chase but never quite catch. Cause system is built that way, keep you unsatisfied. Meanwhile, execs at Activision and EA are out here pretending they're innocent. We're just offering entertainment. It's up to players to manage themselves. Yeah, and I'm just standing out hammers in a glass factory and blaming customers for mess. You want to know what worst part? They know what they're doing. These publishers run A/B tests on everything. They know how long average player stays engaged, where they quit, when they're most likely to buy a skin, and what colour of notifications gets fastest click. This isn't game dev, this is fucking digital predation. And while they pump billions into these dopamine slot machines, they outsource morality to parents, most of whom don't even know what SBMM stands for. So yeah, Scott, this ain't just a gaming problem. It's a societal rot that starts in dev studios and ends in kids comparing their self-worth to fake influencers with rented Lambos and Valorant highlight reels. Now you ask what regulation I'd approve to bring gaming back to something sane. Something that don't chew up teenagers and spit out dopamine-starved wrecks who think riding a battle pass is a personality trait. Let's get one thing straight. Gaming industry will never fix itself. It's drunk on engagement metrics and snorting monetization trends off a 20 quid skin bundle. If we want change, we need to drag it kicking and screaming through regulatory fire. So here's my shortlist. Scotty's law for saving gaming from itself. Number 1. Mandatory psychological transparency reports. If a game is using behavioural manipulation, EOMM, SBMM, FOMO timers, slot machine progression systems, they should be legally required to disclose it in plain fucking English. Not buried in legalese, not hidden in a dev blog, right on box. This game manipulates your mood to extend playtime. You are product. You think parents would still buy that for little Timmy? Exactly. 2. Algorithmic impact assessment. Just like social media, these games should undergo third-party audits on how their system affect players' behaviour, mental health, and time investment. If your game increases aggression, depression, addiction, congrats, you're getting slapped with a red flag and a fat tax. Number 3. Daily session limits for under 18s, unless parental override is active. No, this isn't nanny state bollocks. This is common sense. You know what's worse than a kid who plays too many games? A kid who only plays games because system made them believe real life is pointless. Set timer, lock 'em out, make 'em go touch grass, or at least remember what sunlight is. Number 4. Ban real money loot boxes and predatory progression systems in teen-rated games. You won't let a 14-year-old into a bookies, so why the fuck are they allowed to roll digital dice for anime skins? Ban it, burn it, bury it. If a publisher cries, "But it funds free-to-play model," good, let it die. We'll lost funeral with popcorn and sarcasm. Number 5. Force platforms to deplatform known abusers and toxic streamers. If Twitch and YouTube want to be mentors at next generation, they need to clean house. Stop promoting alpha grind set parasites who turn teenage insecurity into content. Your biggest draw is a man-child in a headset screaming slurs and selling crypto scams. Yeah, it's time for a digital exorcism. Number 6. Tax incentives for games that promote co-op, exploration and real learning. You want publishers to change? Hit the wallets. Give tax breaks to devs who create actual community building games. Titles that reward teamwork, creativity, problem solving, not just mindless KD farming and fashion runway flexing. Reward devs who gear toss. Penalise ones who treat kids like whales with wallets. Number 7. Require devs to publish engagement metrics publicly. Let's see real stats. How long are people actually playing? How many are quitting with buyer's remorse? How many are stuck in low-skilled lobbies because EOMM keeps shuffling deck for retention? Expose dark patterns. Let truth go viral. But here's catch. None of this works unless parents, creators and players gear down. Government can't raise your kid. Devs sure as hell won't. You got to step up, like you did, Scott, like I did. Like any of us who saw through bullshit and decided not to let it shape next generation. So it suits at Activision, EA and Ubisoft. Enjoy profits while they last, cause tide's turning. The new lot are about as subtle as a ransomware pop-up on dial-up internet. You build a system that eats vulnerable and calls it player engagement. We're done pretending it's just fun and games. But what about you lot? What's your one law to fix gaming? Drop it below. Let's draft bill ourselves. We've got more sense than Parliament anyway. Cheers for the question, Scott. Well, that were another scenic drive through smoking ruins of sanity, wasn't it? Your questions roasted, egos bruised, and at least 3 publishers crying into their engagement metrics. If you made it this far without rage quitting or writing a twatty comment, congrats. You're built different. Now don't just lurk like a budget Warzone camper. Join Discord, follow on X, check out channel memberships if you want more chaos with extra spice. All links are in the description. Smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. I might just feature them on channel. I'll see you next time, you magnificent.